Hi guys, it's Matt, your mind and movement mentor. In today's video, I want to talk to you about the one thing that you can do today to help with your gambling addiction, or I would say any addiction in that matter. I want to add before we start the conversation that I'm not a qualified therapist, psychologist, or qualified in the medical field. I'm a compulsive gambler with an addiction that spans over 2 decades that I'm in recovery for, and this is some things that have really helped solidify my recovery. So I'm hoping you can take some value and maybe a slightly abstract way of thinking about some of the things and challenges that addiction can cause you to face. So, subject to where you are in your recovery process or your addiction, you might be in the thick of the madness at this very point in time. And if you are, I don't say that lightly. I can sympathize with how that feels. And if that is the case, some of this is maybe going to sound a little bit easier said than done. But I want to encourage you to try and think a little bit differently and plant some seeds that may grow and evolve over time. This is a conversation around how you can think differently about addiction. And like I say, when you're in the throes of it, it can literally feel like you have no free will, no discernment, no conscious control over your actions. Like I say, I can very, very much relate to that. But the one thing that I want you to think about today, and it's quite simple in practice, but profound in many other ways, is to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Can I say that again? To focus on what it is you want, not what you don't want. So that's everything from the way you see your future, the way you want to feel, the kind of relationships you want to have in life, the kind of goals that you want to set for yourself, and really kind of go deep on this topic with yourself when you get some time. It's even more powerful if you can document this down on paper for two reasons. One, there's very much a therapeutic nature in journaling. I'm a big fan of journaling. I find it helps create some space for more mental bandwidth, and it's just a really good positive habit to continue with. You can look back on your notes in the past and see how your thinking has evolved. So there's a real power in just the therapeutic nature of journaling. But secondly, and almost more importantly, I think it really helps drive a wedge between you and your addiction, which sounds crazy, but if you are an addict, you can definitely probably relate to what I mean when I say you're taking certain behaviors, you may be doing actions that you feel like you can't control, but on some deep, deep level, you know that it's not you. You know that it's not serving your best self. You know that it's not serving your future. I like to almost think of it as kind of higher consciousness and lower consciousness, which sounds incredibly spiritual and woo-woo, but it's very, very accurate. So the more that you can separate yourself between you and the addiction and kind of drive a wedge between that and open up a progressively big gap, the better. That then brings your attention to kind of actions that you can focus on doing that are more beneficial to you and the way you see your life positively wanting to head and in what direction, what trajectory you want to go in. And that I think is just massive, because they say the identity we have for ourselves is the strongest form in the human personality. We want to do things consciously and subconsciously to be aligned with the identity that we've created for ourselves, to make us make sense of ourselves and the world in our mind. So if you can then start to separate the two, you can then start to focus on doing some habits, maybe even tiny at the start, but that are aligned and congruent with what you want for you. A big passion of mine is eating healthy. And there are times in the throes of madness of addiction where I would eat nothing but a couple of bags of Quavers when I was flying from one gambling outlet to another. But there was also times where I created some space, and even though my brain was 90 miles an hour, I would stop and think, and deep down I knew that I wanted to thrive with my physical fitness, with my physique, with my energy levels. And I'd go and kind of prepare a healthy meal. And that was stacking on the identity that I wanted to have for myself and kind of building that column up, if you will, which in turn kind of diminishes the addiction column. So it almost sounds like a little bit schizophrenic, pardon the expression, to kind of think of it in two domains. But I think most people that have had challenges of this nature can very much relate to the idea that you are not your mind, and your mind can take you off in places that you don't really want to go to. You can hardwire neural pathways and patterns of behavior which the large part of the conscious you really does not want to act upon, but you can keep doing so almost on an autopilot where you kind of get conditioned for that. So this way of thinking can be the start of pushing back against that and trying to drive that wedge. And they say wherever focus goes, energy flows. So if you're focused on what you want out of life, all the compelling things for your future that you can kind of move towards and aspire to achieve and eventually achieve, because I'm confident you will do, then you're not thinking about the paradigm that you're in now, which is maybe some of the challenges that you've got mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, emotionally, that the burden of addiction is causing you. So I hope that helps. Like I say, very, very nuanced topic, incredibly gambling addiction, which I will speak largely on. I always say very cunning, powerful and baffling in so many ways. So it's not like there's a one size fits all approach. But my aim of the videos is to help you think a little bit differently, encourage you to maybe do some of the positive habits that have helped me massively in terms of recovering from my addiction and really, really push my life in a completely different direction, way beyond kind of what I would have thought I was capable of when I was in active addiction. So I hope that helps. Leave a comment below if there's any other topics that you'd like to see covered in these videos. I've got some great ideas. This is just the start of this channel. And if you want to support the channel and these are topics that interest you, please like, comment, maybe share this with someone who you feel might benefit from it also. And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. See you soon.